What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today, we're going to talk about residents. Hope you guys can hear me great. It sounds weird for me right now. Let me see. Let me put this one in real quick. Check. Okay. We're going to talk about residents. I get asked a lot about residents. For those of you outside of California, or outside of the criminal world, the gang world, whatever you want to call it, the term resident refers to dudes that are criminals, that are crooks, whatever. They're in the criminal world, but they're not from a barrio, they're not from a gang. But they're in that world. They wind up, even maybe a regular cat got caught up in something and winds up in prison. He's considered a resident. You know, he just lives in the area, but he's not from the gang, the barrio, the hood, whatever it is. And for some reason, people have this idea about residents and what happens to them and how they're treated. So we're gonna start from YA, juvenile hall, YA and shit. YA, for those of you again not from California. California Youth Authority, we call it YA for short, the Youth Authority. It was prison for kids. You could be held up until your 25th birthday, and then if you had a life sentence, you would go back to court, and they would decide if they were going to cut you loose or bound you over to the adult system. You could be 9 years old, and you're housed with fucking 24-year-olds, 23-year-olds. And if they're your enemy, you got to get down with them. Imagine that. So anyways, in YA, you know, California's penal system, the correctional systems out here, they're very cannibalistic. Every faction, every group eats up their own more than their enemies. Bottom line, especially the Raza factions. But YA is or was a completely different animal. Over there, especially like in Paso and Nellis, there was a lot of mind games. Fucking Benji came to steal the show. There's a lot of mind games. There was a lot of really trying to wreck people, but it was based mainly on gangbanging, because in YA you were allowed to gangbang. And so dudes would go above and beyond to try to punk their enemy. And that's the only place where I saw dudes, you know, like punking people all the way to like turn them out. And dudes would hate their enemy so much at times that they would turn their enemy out into a punk and start pimping them. It was crazy, man. YA was a fucking trip. But again, those are little kids. The game's different. There aren't the groups that you're going to run into in the CDC who have established a way of living within those walls, a code of conduct, you might want to call it. And you know, that's what trips me out too, how people from out of state, they try to say, oh, well, you weren't in the same prison with them. Maybe the rules were different in that prison. Not if it was California. Not if it was a level 4 180 or a level 4 period in most level 3s. I would actually try to probably think all level 3s are going to function a certain way. It doesn't mean that they function the same as a 4. But when it comes to level 4s, yeah, what do you think? You get to change the rules? Somebody else that's not a legend gets to change the rules? Doesn't work that way. Your faction has rules and codes of conduct and expectations of you that you have to meet. You ain't gonna fall short. If you do, you're in trouble. So you don't have the whole, because people were asking me about that too, about the whole homosexuality thing in California. That's non-existent. There's one group that doesn't really smash those people the way the other groups do, but mostly all the groups in the CDC, if you show up and you know that's your lifestyle, it's considered weakness in there, and it's considered a bad look for your people, and they do whack you. So now, getting back to the topic at hand. When you enter the CDC, the California Department of Corrections, it doesn't matter if you're a resident. It doesn't matter if you're from out of state. What matters is how you conduct yourself. What matters is learning quickly how to do time inside the cell and outside of the cell. When you come to the CDC, because people ask me, well, what if, I'm a regular dude. I was never involved in gangs or this and this and that. When you get to the reception center, whatever your reception center is, you're going to be asked, who do you run with? By the time you leave the county jail, you're already going to have an idea of what you want to do, who you want to run. Because people are going to lace you up. They're going to see, oh, this vato don't know nothing. And you're going to have some people that are going to try to get over on you because of that. And again, you're not from the state, or you're from, not from a water. They may try, but for the most part, Raza from Southern California aren't going to do that. They don't have that right. They're supposed to treat you according to how you act. Now, by the time you leave the county jail and you hit the reception center, you're already gonna know, okay, I'm gonna run with these people. When you choose who you're gonna run with, you're going to abide by their rules. You're going to live amongst them. And you're going to be treated as an equal. Yes, there's going to be some vatos behind the scenes that hate, but those vatos hate on everybody as it is. We don't worry about those people. Those people always find themselves crossed up sooner or later, because that feminine energy, that feminine mindset that they have to worry about the next man, where he's from, man, that shit don't matter. Don't matter where he's from. And that's the way most people look at it. There have been people in California who are not from a barrio that rose up and became a legend. It's about, let me tell you something. Let's make something abundantly clear too. People that think you got to have muscle. No, be in shape. Be ready for war at all times, right? But the muscle you have to work the hardest, and that will keep you ahead of everybody, is your brain. Oh, Dubs, that's not a muscle. Bullshit. You know, they have a saying, I've said it before in other videos, and I'll say it again right now. Before I get to the saying, I'll tell you this. I told the story before. I'm going to say it again here. I was in C11. It's in the shoe. There was a vato. He had put in a lot of work. He had stabbed a lot of dudes up. You know, he had a lot of violence on his jacket. And he just out of nowhere decides he wants to send the legend that's in his pod, his paperwork. Hey, can I send you my paperwork? He's like, yeah. You're not going to impress those people. That's what people don't understand. How you talk and what you did yesterday don't matter. What you're doing today. That's the way they look at it, right? So he's like, yeah, whatever. Hey. So he shoots him the paperwork. Boom. All this work that he put in, you know. And the legend tells him, Aeon, after he read all this shit, he told him, Aeon, what the fuck was I supposed to get out of that? And you could hear it, huh? You could hear the stupidity in his voice, huh? The letdown, the hurt. Huh? He said, yeah, what was I supposed to get out of this, eh? Because you know what I got out of this? He said, what? I got that you're a fucking idiot. Crushed him. And he basically told him, like, I got 10,000 dudes that can do this. They need brains. The muscle cannot move without the brains. The muscle is a metaphor, not just you within your body, your muscle. But if you want to get involved in shit, you have muscle that's going to follow you, right? If you don't have the brains to move the muscle, you ain't ever going to get to that spot. So the reality is, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's how good you play chess. And I don't mean that's another metaphor. I'm talking about the game in there. The game where they're playing chess with real life people, with killers. Can you think 5 steps ahead of this cat? Because at some point, the vato you're breaking bread with is more than likely going to become your rival, depending on his motivations, his aspirations in prison, and depending on yours. But what you can't stop is you're surrounded by men who hate their situation, who only see the negative in most people. It's not everybody. I'm talking about the snakes in there. They don't see the good in you. If you do a kind-hearted gesture to somebody, that's weakness to them. In your eyes, and their eyes, you became prey. You have something they don't have. You become prey. So knowing that, do you have the ability? Have you built this up enough? Have you learned enough? Have you been schooled by the right people to see when it's coming? To see, this vato smiling on my face, but he's after me. And can you play that chess game with him? Because if he's smarter than you, your best bet is to do a hotly on the yard, go back to the oil, and pick up some more game. It's a cold game, man. You know, but this is why I keep telling you. I got to do this every video, man. Prison ain't the place to be. It's not. Everybody in there wishes they were out here. So why are some people wanting to do things to get put in there? I remember growing up, man, we knew we were going to go to prison. We knew we were going to go to YA. We knew we were going to go to prison. We knew we were probably going to get life. We didn't give a fuck. But back in those times, in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have an idea of shit that's better. Better ways of doing shit. What we knew was what was going on in our house and in front of our house and in our neighborhood. That's all we knew. You know, and so our world was a lot smaller back then. And back then, gangbanging was a lot. I think everybody was a lot deeper back then and a lot more violent. Excuse me. You know, I hear this nowadays. People say, oh, this generation, they're just dumping. Yeah, but it's not to the extent you heard of in the past. You know, I had Sallys that were from South Central, and they were like, homie, we would get in fucking shootouts, car-to-car shootouts in broad daylight in South Central, and Judas ain't showing up. They don't want to show up. They don't want to have nothing to do with that shit. That's not the case now. They're coming. A lot of places have become gentrified. Shit. Put on one of them funny hats and shirts and blend in with them. Listen to them. They got the money to buy your whole neighborhood. Have that conversation. How did they get there? Because that conversation is a lot more interesting than the damn war stories we telling ourselves in prison. You will hear the same war story. You go ahead, go to jail. Fuck around in them streets. Go to jail and hear the same war story every damn day. Fuck. Get a Sally that don't shut the fuck up. Get a Sally that's miserable and he's like a dark cloud. And feel that fucking energy every day and watch what it does to you. It immediately puts you in a dark cloud, in a dark place. But like I was saying, where you're from doesn't matter. Hopefully this video gets to the people that are always asking me about residents. Because you're a resident don't mean you're a punk. I want to say it made you smarter, but nah, you didn't get into the neighborhood, but you still found your ass in the same fucking cell as me. So you ain't smarter. You know, I've had Sallys like that too. Want to talk about them. Hey, fucking that Vato. He's supposed to be smart as fuck and he's dumb as hell. And I'll be like, hey, homie, his cell's the same size as ours. You ain't much smarter either, motherfucker. Get us a bigger cell then. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, and it's the same thing. I already mentioned it. I'll mention it again because I get asked a lot. Dudes that come from out of state. Hey, Holmes, as long as in California, you do your time as a man, you're going to be treated like a man. You stick your nose where it doesn't belong. It don't matter what neighborhood you're from. If you're from a neighborhood, if you're not, if you're from California or not, if you stick your nose where it doesn't belong, now shit gets real and it gets real fast. You talk about shit that is none of your business, shit gets real. But if you do your time, you perform when the time is when it's requested of you, you can pretty much have a smooth time in here. You know, vatos aren't going to be, once you're asked to do a jale and you perform, you go and you do your shoot time, you come back, you stick to your business and your program, don't involve yourself in nothing, and people know if the shit goes down, he's a participant, but you stay out of the politicking, stay out of gambling, stay out of dope, man, you're never going to be on the top of the list for another jale. Believe me, there's enough guys that are fucking running around, you know, acting tough. Oh, you know, this vato's tough? Fucking, he's fucking 20 years old and he's the toughest guy in the yard? Put a knife in his fucking hand. That's the type of shit where it's like, okay, let's see what time it is. So hopefully that answered your questions. Let me see. I'm trying to get to 20. I can't get to 20 with this one, you guys. I have to fucking go run some errands today. I wanted to make sure I knocked this video out for you guys. But you guys, do me a favor. In the comments section, give me ideas. Give me more ideas because this one was somebody had requested this. And it's been asked for a while. And I kind of spoke on residents before, but I wanted to do it again today. Somebody asked about the whole gay stuff. That's why I kind of blended it in here. And to reiterate, it doesn't go down in California. It's very, 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 very rare in California. You're going to hear about a rape. And if you do, there's only one faction, again, where they might do shit like that. I don't get into that because I don't want anybody to say, oh, he's putting these people down. That's not what none of my videos are ever about. My videos are not about putting any group down or glorifying another one. At the end of the day, they're all in prison and they all wish they were out here. When we get incarcerated, we have failed at life. Now they're just existing. You're not living when you're behind them walls. Make sure you understand that. You are not living. You're a fucking ghost. You're a fucking apparition in people's minds. That's it. Out of sight, out of mind. With that said, everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. By the way, almost forgot. I have a channel. I've had this other channel for a long time. It used to be called Discussions with Dubs. I'm gonna start it up again. It's this time I changed the name. It's Dubs Clips. I'm gonna start just making taking the long form content that I have on both of my channels, knocking it down either into shorts or into 3 to 5 minute clips. That way, you know, it'll hopefully get people interested in the old stuff. I've been told, you know, that I have a lot of my old videos when I first started were more in depth, I guess. I don't know. They're shorter, but that a lot of people aren't aware of them or the message. And that was when I was fresh out, you know. So anyways, I'm going to start trying to put some of that stuff on the Dubs Clips channel. So if you're not subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe. Another thing. I checked my analytics because you guys have been blowing the channel up. I appreciate you guys. You guys don't understand all the comments you guys have been leaving, all the likes, all that is helping blow the channel up. Thank you very much. But I noticed one thing. Over 40% of the people watching are not subscribed. So if you do like the channel, if you do like the comment, hit that subscribe and hit the all. And all of this stuff helps. It helps us grow. And again, interact with me as far as letting me know, what do you want me to talk about? You guys already know, if I feel comfortable with the topic, we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to give my point of view. That's all I can give you. There's people that, no, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that. That's fine. This is my opinion based on my life experiences. So with that said, again, everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.